Hello and welcome back to the Broken Gear Garage. Today I'm working on a 2015 Chevy pusher lever lay with rear caliper that's leaking out of the seal in the back by where the emergency brake is. I already got a lot of it out, so I'm going to just show you the rest of the process and show you putting it back together, and we'll go from there. Yes, everyone puts on calipers something or differently, so I just do it this way because it seems like I lose less fluid this way and there's less stress on the lines. And overall, it just seems like a little bit better way of doing them instead of having everything dangling around and swapping over and then trying to get it back in. This way you can have the new one all set up and then you can get the pads on. And all you gotta worry about is putting on the line. And on the newer calipers, you just want to check to make sure that they are greased so you don't have a dried out one right away. These don't have much. It's mostly just oil, assembly oil. And like this one, doesn't have much in there. The little rubber piece that's on there just helps it quiet it down so you don't get the rattling noises. You want to make sure you put these little brackets on there for the brake pads. And some people don't put it on the bottom or on the actual caliper, between the caliper and those little silent guards. You usually just put them with just as is, which I just do because it just being where there's a lot of rust and stuff like that. It seems that kind of help with accumulation of rust, but it does accumulate more dirt and debris because it is grease. And I usually like to put a little grease on the back ends of them, just so they don't have to, or just so you get a little bit more or better movement out of them, so they're not squeaking or anything like that. Just from applying the brakes and stuff like that. We're just in there. There we go. Of course, no. Yeah, we're putting these one or the old ones back on because it's just this one side, and that's what we're doing for now, and the customer understands it. So, and now seeing that we have everything else ready, we can put that new caliper back on where it was, and then we just take this bolt off, put it on there, and then we can just bleed the brakes. And technically you're not supposed to crimp off the brake lines because it can cause them to get damaged, and then you end up having future issues of them bulging and having issues with the brakes and stuff like that. So that is why I like to do it this way, is if you're not keen on crimping them, at least this way it seems like it's a little bit quicker and less mess. I guess we're gonna have to grab a vice grips to get that off. And that's sometimes what happens. There's a bottom little washer. It tends to get smushed in to the grooves. So you put it all back together. We'll grab your nut. It's supposed to go back in there, but I guess not. There we go. Interesting. There's something that's not around here. Pretty much just want a really good grasp on the washer, a little brass washer to unthread it. I normally use the vice grips, but pretty much anything they can grasp on it will work. I just grab whatever is closest to me. And just unthread it. Yep, you'll see like they'll get caught in the threads. Pretty much just like over tighten, but at the same time just wear and tear on it. And get out the new one, the new washer, the new bolt. Make sure you don't drop it. You do just make sure it's clean. Put it back in so you don't get debris in there and have leaks. It usually goes a lot better than this. These are usually a little bit of pain. And some of them are just a pain in the butt, like this one. Especially when you have aftermarket stuff. Grind it down a little bit, I guess. Wonders of dealing with aftermarket. Sometimes you gotta just modify them just to make them work. Really? Maybe that way. Sure, it's nice and tight and it don't leak, which is leaking. Which means it's probably not properly sealed in there. Or it could just be residual, but I highly doubt it. Still. try this again. One more time. We got her. Tighten up a little bit. Tighten up probably a hair more. Wait a little bit, make sure everything's good before you continue, or you're going to start backing it off. See what that's going to be. And this is kind of controversial. There's some people this is the gravity bleeded, but I kind of like to just get as much air out as possible. And yeah, you're not going to get it all. That seems to work for most part. Just kind of let it sit there for a little bit. Usually if you're doing both sides, I'll crack that one open, go and do the other side. And by the time it's ready to, by the time it's leaking, you gotta have the other side done. And this is going to go straight through here. So you got to take it off from there first before you can take the actual line off. And then you got to pull this up. There's a little tab over there. You got to get that underneath there. And look back in here so it locks into place. It's usually a little struggle with the newer ones because they don't have as much, or they're not as worn out. Just like that. Yeah, this is a little time consuming, but you can always get a little vacuum sucker. Then I gotta do it the special way because now I don't have my tool here. Go. Now that's bleeding. Dribbling. Let it sit there for a couple seconds so that's dribbling. I will clean up a little bit. Make sure you have put the caliper, drain the caliper, and put it back in the box so you can get your car back. A lot of stuff you can't see, or I'm going to try to show you guys, are a lot of the stuff that just is pretty much helping people get by, and people that are hurting for money or whatever. Just the basics of keeping these vehicles on the road and getting you around to your jobs or whatever you need to do. Make sure you get the core back and get the steering hooks back. I never finished that vacuum. You guys tell me if I did or not. Either way, I'll probably check anyways. Which caliper mounting bracket bolts are going to be 18mm top and bottom. The caliper to the actual caliper bracket are going to be 13mm. This one was a 10, but every single vehicle is a little bit different. And sometimes aftermarket will give you a different size too. The same with these bleeders. This one was a 10mm, but a lot of them are different ranges. You know, normally like 10 to 12. A lot of the older vehicles are going to be standard like 5/16 or not. I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say it's 5/16, but it might be a lot. They're 3/8 or something like that. They're tend to be a little bit smaller than what these are. Now that I've been dripping for a little bit, I'll close it off. Hit the brakes a few times, recheck everything. Drain it again just to make sure there's no air in it. Typically you'd either have the vacuum or pressure machine for the brakes to kind of flow that fluid through. Or you have an assistant inside the vehicle, and sometimes you're gonna have, depending on the people, either you're gonna have where you press 5 times, hold it down and drain it, or seeing a lot more people frequently do the up down method where as they're applying the brakes you open the bleeder. Once it's all the way ground, you shut the bleeder, let them raise up, And you just keep on doing that, where every time they go down, you open, it goes up, you close it. Seems a little bit more efficient and faster that way, but it's really up to how you guys feel about it and which one works best for you guys. Really don't see much leaks. Oh, sorry, this one's 11 millimeter. Turn that up a little. That's one reason why I use that really stubby ratchet, so you don't over tighten it. You just take your time and see a little bit. You can tighten it up a little bit more, and then a little bit that was where it could have been from the bleeder too. So. Even then, that's why a lot of people don't like the gravity beads, because you still been bleeding for a little bit and you open it up a little bit more, you still get a little bit of air. That's why if you're doing it, just take your time, hit the brakes a few times. And usually every time you do brakes or whatever, make sure everything's tight. Tires tight. Always go for a quick little around the block just to make sure everything's working fine and no issues before you hand it off to the person or before you actually go on long distance with it. Just to verify everything's working properly. Wait a little bit longer and then close it off, clean it all up, and hit the brakes and check everything over and put the tire on. Go. Sure it's tight. Make sure everything's dry. Don't think it's leaking, especially when you spray it down and stuff. Use residual brake clean or whatever you're using to clean it off. guess it's a hair bit, but sometimes it doesn't take much, but that's one reason why I like the little short ones. Not going excessive on it right away. And you could damage something, stretch out that banjo bolt, over crush them, and you end up starting over from the beginning. Worst case scenario, you just snap off that bolt inside the caliper. And always make sure you have the reservoir cap off when you're bleeding them, especially gravity bleeds, so then you don't create a vacuum trying to bleed out. And you stand there for hours trying to figure out why it's not working, not draining. Another word of advice is whenever you're returning cores and stuff like that, or that wrong part, I've had a lot of people buy parts over the years, even me wise, it's again the part that says it's brand new. This is more or less for the parts people to make sure that they're checking the parts out there getting returned, because I've had a lot of used calipers come in a brand new box and they said it's been done, and it's an old one that someone returned saying it didn't work for their vehicle. So that person, please stop it. I get you're hurting for money, but now you're just screwing over 50 other people because you decide to be cheap. So we should be all ready to go, and your wonderful Daytona jack. It works good. I have no issues with it, so keep on going. Good price for what it is, and what I do, and then you get your old DeWalt impact cordless, just because usually you're in the middle of nowhere, or you don't have electricity, or air compressor run out. But and the lug nuts are going to be 22 millimeters, and you torque them down to about 100 foot-pounds. And then we're going to set her down and take for a test drive. Thanks for watching, and like the video if you do, and subscribe if you want to see more of it. Thanks.